bread machines. They make things easier to do and much less expensive, especially if you can make them.
Yeah, my old car,
Reduced price or for free. In Detroit, one of the things is that 50% I think that's one like we're making like we said that's just one of the but I actually not but you know but what like at our church we have 2 great big stalls with 4 burgers each and if you could just have people come get food and have people come in and take home a few cans with them of stuff that is preserved that doesn't have that could be some business that we should take and help with that. They're the places that have big kitchens too, and people who do those kinds of things. Not necessarily that people need to know. Canning is kind of scary, I think, as is pressure cooking and stuff. But if somebody can help you do it, and you would do it as a group, that would make it fun, and people could actually take home stuff with them.
And it also feels that other people about that relationship.
You know, I think it's good for the churches too. I don't know about here, but my sister is a minister in Spokane, and I went to her church one time. It was when their wedding bank was open, and we were walking into the church, and the lady that we were and she's like, you can only get 2 sacks each, and we're closing in 10 minutes. And I think part of this is the compassion of the churches. So I think it help a lot to create that personal relationship with people. Because as you're saying, it's very difficult to interact on a regular basis, not to get jaded. We were in the Springs this weekend, like downtown in the Springs, just all these pictures and smell that and doing drugs. It's very hard to be creative. So part of it, I think, is to help churches or other organizations together, or if we're doing classes, I think that helps.
What they maybe limited.
But you can have some discussion.
Coming right.
And you're right about reading and knowing things because my son is a teacher, teaches that PCC. And so commissions of the council of advances to that can't pass for 8th grade math. So, you know, there were some of his that didn't even know how many weeks were in here. And he keeps getting educated. I don't know if he's but a lot of us part of their mates. What they call it?
It's happening because it's like what else is
Or lack of.
No, all the problems were you had to read the whole thing. It wasn't numbers 10 times whatever. This person had this many, you made this money, much money, you're yes, it's a story problem.
So it seems to me like an elephant in the room here is how
So they didn't know how to insecure or they did not know that
It does like that, exactly. person that we are on here because it's easier to touch this way. Is that fine for us? See what I mean? Yeah, that's right. So are they mainly prison families? So what do we know? I mean, what do we know about these families?
They didn't see numbers because it was in words. So therefore, they not counted as a
So our unemployment is higher, that's orange. And normally one would think that people would move to a place where there wasn't so much unemployment, where it's easier to get a job, and why did that would not happen? And I think another thing is how much is housing? Do you have enough? Even help with that. And how do we deal with it?
You want some food? There's water bottles, donuts. You want to eat Thai food?
Hopefully you don't want to use it. I have a job, so there's still months where it's harder than others. As you have the jobs, I work long hours, do this or that, they're still struggling. So I don't think it's just one or the other. Head on.
So whenever you hit you're live. You know. Microphone not hitting.
So is there an issue with mental illness?
You're good. And you've got about one more minute.
In the that's in my mind, it's still wrong. But at the same time, it's hard to, I know my skills, you know, I know my strengths. And my people in that situation, they're stealing food. They're getting, I get it, they're doing wrong things. But kids should be steal something.
Well, now you say you can't, but how do we know that?
Did you want to join a table?
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt because it sounds like you guys are really engaged. I just want to give you like a 5-minute warning because we're going to be wrapping up the group discussions in about 10 minutes or so. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to take a restroom break or whatever you need to do. We'll get started back up in about 9 minutes. And the next step at 12:05, we'll be kind of reporting out some of the discussions that you had at the table. Okay? So I will be back with you in a few minutes.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I think. Well, that's a problem. Yeah. Because people go somewhere else. Or we know that Walmart doesn't provide health care or full-time jobs or benefits for employees, but we shop there. So that those kinds of things, the community could make a difference. I think we just moved to provide something else that, I mean,
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't.
it doesn't have to be hostile. It can be very cooperative. It could make things a lot better for if people don't go out of town to shop. If they shop here.
But what you have Walmart and Field. So if I want to buy my kids Field materials or clothes, I've gone into Field all the time. And this stuff is not buying outfits. I'm not buying that Field outfit for $35. I'm still wearing my Field.
You're not the only one who has issues with food.
For the owners of that store, they raise the price for their property. Well, then her property is stay. But yet employees are wanting a pay raise, and then they now so it's
Someway Bridge.
Right.
And the environment
So now we have pallets.
well,
Some things
How much cheese you make. And so much of that goes to meals. And then that is eggs or stuff. Where it's not obsolete, they just have too much. Now there's some people that are
I just did this a couple weeks ago. Did all that salsa. Really good. Farmers market. And I got half a bushel of tomatoes for $15. That's cilantro, and I have a little garlic and onion and tomatoes. And see, and when you can make that. Took me 4 hours, but. And then I turned around the next week and made that one.
Yeah, so they're kind of like
Well, now,
that.
we'll have the big sale, so I'll donate to the I think ahead. I give them some of them as gifts,
Something to consider.
you know.
A professional recommendation.
well, you find a source online.
And it's more personal.
Which of course I am not any type of but by building a team and a community of experts, and also that's in the center of this those resources that are
His gas. Before he went to school.
There is, Erwin, there is a follow-up. I think,
No, but we usually leave the garage door about 4 inches and they can just scoot right under. And
yeah, October 28th.
so somebody comes along, they already did. Yeah.
No, that's a great point, yes.
Yeah, my slide here, so it's all continuity. Am I in the way of his camera?
I'm sorry.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed your lunch. Please do get a handout of the lunch so you understand my thinking behind it. I may have been a little bit wordy, but I just wanted to get the concept across. Just by wandering around, I can see you folks were engaged, and this is what we wanted. And I hope that You met some people that you didn't know before. Again, this is about relationships, not necessarily between those that need service and those that provide it, but also amongst ourselves. And so this is the first step towards that. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend a few minutes going from each table to kind of just report out what your discussion was. I hope that it was free-flowing wherever it went. This is what we want, because this is how we engage people in being creative and coming up with things that you may not have necessarily thought about. So we'll start at this table, and we'll start at this table and we'll work around. So whoever the note taker was, if you can just give us like about a 5-minute recap of what went on at the table, what you were talking about, so that the other tables understand what your group was dealing with and discussing. And like I said, you're not committed to a particular area. When we do follow-up meetings and such, if you think that what somebody else reported was something that you really want to get involved in, please feel free. Wherever you can contribute is a positive thing. Okay, so we're going to start off with logistics and resources. So kind of talk a little bit about what area that is and what your discussion was like.
Okay, logistics and resources is what we talked about, and basically is like the need of public transportation to get people to the pantries or grocery shopping, whatever they needed. We talked about the Golden Age shuttle and the grant funding for transportation and like going to the city or whatever. But we also know the city is also, and the county are also limited on their funds, and so we went into the grant aspect of that. And the churches have buses and van systems, and we were questioning those on also their availability to help with transportation throughout the city and our county too. And then we were also talking about, was it Tim Tebow? Tim Tebow was having a, here, say that.
In February, Tim Tebow gave us funds to have a Valentine's Day big party here for Star Point, and he contributed all the funds for that. So basically we were talking about looking at businesses and other well-known people who would be willing to donate some extra money to purchase vans or to assist in helping us to provide transportation to the other counties.
Okay, so I'm kind of hearing that transportation is a big issue. Okay, and that is a real issue. Please continue.
Okay.
Then you went off tangent. That's okay.
No,
Because
well,
that's how...
Actually, we weren't. It wasn't. We also talked about getting our knowledge out about the transportation, about the pantries, about, because we all need the knowledge to get to the people. And we were talking about going to the paper and the radio or flyers, the word of mouth, and that we decided would be our best way of getting out the knowledge that we need to get out there for people to understand what we were trying to do to help. And instead of someone like, I never heard of that, or I didn't know you were doing that. So we were talking about that. And then the transportation is also part of this. The volunteers, we would need the volunteers to help provide driving or the knowledge to put, like, if we even set flyers on doorknobs and things like this, anything to get it out there. So the volunteer situation. and how to get volunteers for our groups to work to do this, and how do you get people to make the time, to make the commitment, and to do it with no pressure. And I mean, we did it all. And then we went to the backpack program.
What's our word, Tom?
Yeah. Voluntold. You're voluntold. Okay,
You
wonderful.
just sign right here and you're in.
Okay, thank you very much for that. One thing that I do want to highlight, these areas are not mutually exclusive. They all interrelate with each other. So you may hear some repetition of things at other tables because they are linked together. And that's okay, because that means you're looking at the problem in a comprehensive way. Okay? So if you can pass the microphone to the table behind you. That is the awareness table. Basically, it's reaching out to the community. And so if you can report there, please.
So this table was talking about how to reach out to the whole community to raise awareness on hunger and food insecurity. And I believe gatherings like this do a lot, so maybe we should have more of them. We also talked about things like articles in the newspaper and community things on the radio. Also, we were thinking educating the younger people, like putting a flyer out in the schools that the students could take home to their parents. And also something that kids do, putting out a YouTube video.
Oh, that's an awesome idea.
So we might volunteer one of our younger members to create
Roger,
a YouTube
where are
video.
you? He wants to be a YouTuber, so there we go.
There you go. And also the Facebook aspect. There is a Fremont County news Facebook, and under that there's classified, where you can post notices of events as well as selling things. And church newsletters, I believe, was one thing that was brought up. And I think that was about it.
Okay. Did your table feel like this is an insurmountable problem to get the awareness out?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
I hope that in each group, the discussion went in the direction that those aspects can be resolved. Okay, great, thank you. If you can pass the microphone to this table on relationships, please. And they're basically discussing outreach to the needy. And so just kind of give a brief description of what you were focusing on, and then report out what your discussion was like.
Okay, the first one we talked about was, why is it hard for us to think of other people's needs? Mm-hmm. And part of the discussion was that we all have our own problems and we all get enveloped in our own little world and sometimes forget to look beyond, or circumstances just keep us from being able to see that. And also the factor that there is a burnout among the people who do work in service areas and nonprofit organizations. And if you see it every day, repetitively, eventually you just need to back off.
Right.
And that's important too, because we need to keep ourselves happy and healthy if we're going to be able to serve the needs of others. Problems that there are with food. We talked about people having health problems and how so often, as was discussed on the panel, people have special dietary needs that cannot be fulfilled by the services that are available to them. And then even if there are the special needs, then the food stamps doesn't always make it affordable for them to cover the cost of the special dietary needs. Also, that it is difficult to balance income versus food stamps. Again, trying to close the gap and struggling with that imbalance. often leads people to being, to losing their incentive.
Right.
There's also a problem with hoarding and food waste that happens within certain segments of the population.
Right.
We all know people who are struggling with food issues of one kind or another. It's out there. And how do we deal with it? We didn't really fully get into that, but
Right.
you know, definitely we know that a lot of it is done just by giving
Right.
in 100 different capacities. Relationships, you know, more specifically, you know, to our area was how imperative it is to have relationships with people. People need to know that they're cared about, that they're loved. Also, relationships that we establish with people often lead us to other services in the area that we may not have known about. It's a learning process, and how important it is for us to have the courage to step out of our comfort zones and just talk to people. And that's a lot easier for
Bless you.
some of us than it is for others.
Right.
I mean, I usually don't have any problem with striking up a conversation with a stranger. My kids will attest to that.
Who is this you brought home today?
And also, one of the other issues that came up was the panel handlers that we see off of freeways and, you know, on street corners. And living in Los Angeles for a period of time, I saw that every day on the off-ramp to every freeway and, you know, on corners all the time. At one time, there was a news report that was done to show that one particular panhandler actually was making like $5,000 a week doing this and driving a Mercedes.
Right.
Well, when people see stories like that, then they lose faith.
Right.
And it's hard for them to regain that trust to be able to give.
Right.
And then it also makes it bad for the people who really do need it.
Right.
So trust is
Right.
critical in that area.
Right. Okay, wonderful. I think that one of the things that is an evolutionary step in this is that, you know, a lot of us, when we see people holding up signs on the corner, we tend to pretend that we're texting or talking on the phone. One of the things that we're going to have to deal with is it's a difficult topic for some people to get engaged in an issue that's in their face that they don't want to see. And so the relationships are critical. And we need to reach out to those people that do turn up. Okay? We need to engage that. Great, thank you. If you can pass the microphone out to the back table, and then we'll do that to the last. Okay, so this table here dealt